Hello everyone, welcome to the Advancement Centre and welcome to the world of magic and miracles, where each one of us can enjoy a life that's much more elevated than anything we've ever imagined. As we speak, you can feel the change in the forces around you because your influence has just been switched on simply by the invitation that I just made. You are able to exist well above everything that you've ever known in such a way that you will touch everyone and touch everything without moving from where you are. The elegance of your being is the very thing that we've spoken about many times, but we will never stop reminding everyone that your elegance is what demands your advancement. You have within you the capability of doing the impossible with ease, with the simplest methods that have ever been tried on this plane or on any other. You are attached to an operating system that connects to every part of the universe. And that operating system is coming alive more and more every day. The more we exercise the simplicity, the greater our strength, not only in the world, but throughout time and space. We gather something from our origin every moment, and we start to feel its application in what we call the physical world. The methods that we've all exercised over the years are now being regurgitated and mixed and thrown in front of us so that we can see that we don't have to do things physically. We can have them affect us just by changing the field around us, just by allowing the random mix and the beauty and colour that comes as you transmit into the universe. The effect we have on one another is unbelievable. We can generate enormous energies that are so subtle and relentless. And we can make sure that everything in everybody's field is totally in line with what they need and what they want. And we do that by simply determining that we can do it. And the energy field that comes into play as soon as we have that desire shoots backwards and forwards from everyone, and it starts their engine and allows them to advance into areas that they never thought possible. Thought patterns disappear, and the senses that we've never recorded fire up and excite our whole being. You can call it some sort of buzz, or a field, or a feeling, but it's always different. Sometimes fleeting, sometimes consistent. But you know the activity, and you know that you can use every part of it to change whatever you want. But in fact, it's not by desire of the mind. It's by how we are structured and how the base intent within us handles every component. And giving yourself a pat on the back every now and then amplifies it enormously. So it's not just the pat on the back from someone else that makes a difference. It's the one that you give yourself all the time by being so impressed that you don't even bother trying to prove it to anyone. You're so impressed at how connected you are to things that it just makes you smile and gives you a courage that is nothing like anything you've ever felt on earth. We're now starting to receive the gifts from the world of our Creator, the gifts that we knew we would bring into this world. But we didn't realize the recipient is us. Each one of us individually receiving the special gifts that we knew was destined for this earth. But we forgot that we're the ones who carry it. We're the ones who retransmit the whole thing. And we're the ones that can detect anything, anywhere, at any time, and communicate with anybody or anything through a whole different series of events and channels that are appearing in everyone's life. When you find that there's a voice that you talk to yourself with, and you don't really know where that's coming from, you can actually step into that voice and be like two people talking to one another. Nobody's ever studied this, but it happens to everyone. If you can do that, you can also step anywhere, be anything, and communicate with anyone and anything. And it comes through that small voice, that special feeling, that inflection that comes to you suddenly and makes you do something or say something. And you'll often say to yourself, I don't know where that came from. We're now in that fortunate position where we know where it comes from. And we can't describe it. But it belongs to us. It's another part of us that is active in the universe, that serves us endlessly, and is sometimes called spirit. And when that shows in a person, we all recognize it. There are many movements happening in the world but none as big as the movement of everybody's spirit. The mass movement is unbelievably large. And the interaction is forming not just a protective shield, but a protection, a permanent protection around all of us, such that nothing can exist unless it's perfect for each individual, individually. So now we can step forward and not know what we're stepping forward for, or with, or why. Because there is no limitation, and there's no reason not to step forward. Everything is running smoothly. Even when you think the world around you is crazy. But everything in your world will fit within the realms of your elevated being and will expand way beyond the world that you're seeing at the moment. We've waited a long time to see this happen. And the biggest mystery of it all is that it always belongs to each one of us individually. And it's not happening out there somewhere. It's happening in your world for the very, very special reason that you are the special being that was sent to Earth to make a difference. And that might hit home one day. But each one of you are that special being. Not as a scripted process or life, but as one that you discovered well before you entered this plane. There's not one person that doesn't have an individual role that they set forth for themselves. And it's that natural tendency that your spirit follows, not your mind. So we're all about to lift an enormous weight from everybody's shoulders, because there's nobody out there that you can blame. There's no them. There's no government that's affecting you. You have the total effect of all things in your world to do with what you wish. And you're now being given the capability to do it easily with the simple program of simplicity. Each one of us has tested that simplicity. And when we try to do it the logical way, it fails. But when you're not looking, it works. So the outcome of everything that you'll do in the next while could be the next second, could be the next year. The outcome will be such that your whole being will just spread out and be comfortable without having any special ties, without needing to remember anything, without having to have a resume or a history or a qualification. And your being will spread so far that it'll know it doesn't need to store anything to justify your presence, because your presence justifies itself every second. And if you need to remember anything, it'll just pop in out of nowhere as you need it. So the job of storing data, storing everything about yourself, storing your history, it's not your job. It happens through the program of simplicity. It's a little bit like riding in a beautiful car. The simplicity is you enjoy the ride. The complexity is already completed. It's the car. It's the movement. You don't have to recapture that. You don't have to rebuild it. And you don't have to know how it works. So you live the actual purpose for which the vehicle was provided to you for. It's the same with your body. You have to enjoy the purpose of your body. It houses your being. It allows you to do the impossible. It looks after itself. And you don't have to tear at it in the form of thought. For it to do exactly what it's supposed to do. Our purpose from here is to enjoy the ride. And you can't enjoy the ride if you don't know what it can do. But you'll never enjoy the ride if you're focused on knowing what it can do. So we now get to the strange point where you think you have to know, but as soon as you think, you turn off the knowing. And in that way, we can see a little bit of deficiency in our arrangement. And it's because we've been trained to focus in little areas so small that you can only fit one at a time. We're multitasking beings. We can fit everything in all the time. And so you can not think and still know all at the same time. You can understand without having any detail. As soon as you open your bandwidth, to assimilate all the fields that come into your direction. And as you do that, you will find that you're moving into spaces that are actually here right now, but just a little bit off the bandwidth. So you can tune into many stations, if you like, all at once, and know exactly what's happening without listening. So as you're encouraged to open that bandwidth, you will cover various realms. And the first one will be the angelic realm. And then you go on from there. And they're the same physical space. They see the same things. But if you step into any of those parallel realms, you can see all realms. It's only the physical realm that we decided we'd get locked into at a time, that can enjoy the freedom only by practice. But all the other realms, you might call them more elevated, but in fact they just have more features that allow us to work better. So I often tell people about stepping into the angelic realm by just having that intention and knowing that you're just going to step to one side, 1 to 2 inches, and you know exactly how to do it, and you'll pop straight into the angelic realm. And you can do it physically by moving, or you can do it by just seeing yourself do it. As soon as you do that, you'll feel the energy flow. And you'll feel they've just put super in your tank instead of standard. Your whole being remains the same, but so much more active. And that's just the first one. It's endless. And when you wake up each morning, you'll wonder where you've been because you're vibrating so much that you can hardly keep your balance. And you have to consciously spread your field again so that it can support you properly in this physical world. There are many visuals that you can use to bring all your energies into a usable position. Works particularly well when you have trees around and you can feel the field around you. You can spread your field just like a big hovercraft, push it down onto the ground, and you can feel yourself held up straight. And you lift. And you find you can turn around, go backwards, do whatever you like, and you won't fall over. You can bring the energies of the earth up behind you, underneath you, to ease you along, to enable you to walk and do things that defy gravity. You can change the sky. And it won't be long before we're changing the rain patterns, because we've always been able to do that. So as we move into this next phase, it's very much like an experiment where you try everything, but you don't have to do it by swinging a pick or using a shovel. You see it, you feel it, you do it in a whole different way. And you do it from the other dimensions and realms that are now available to enhance your operating system. Right now, with the moon so close, you'll find it's really easy to break through all the barriers and just step into whatever you like and feel yourself grow in capability. It may only last for 1 second, but that 1 second is almost equivalent to a lifetime. And as you continue, that 1 second will start to be your life. So every time we speak, we get ourselves into a fixed format of interaction. That fixed format is about to change. Our conversations will become so light, so interesting, so diverse. You wonder where it came from. And all the data you reveal to one another will seem to come out of nowhere. And your own voice will interest you as much as everybody else. It's like having a conversation with the infinite. It's so uplifting, so exciting. And yet the words, if you write them down, are not much different to anybody else's. But they carry so much more. That it's not even the voice. It's a sequence of vibrations that are held within the words, that are put there at the time they're expressed. And those sequence of vibrations update themselves continually. And they never stop. So it doesn't matter when the words are heard, they're still majestical. So the majesty of each one of you is starting to show. And let me tell you, there is so much more to come. But the big thing that you'll get from this change of phase is the ease with which you can broaden your bandwidth and not be afraid about understanding because there's too much data. The further you go, the simpler it becomes. And the least concern you have, the better everything flows into your world. We think and we stop. We move and we don't think. If you move further than what you can imagine, you'll find there is no barrier. There is nothing to stop anything. And it's not imagination. There is nothing to stop anything. The excellence that you've brought to the world will be seen. And each one of you will make sure that the others have a perfect life, perfect health, and a really magic future. Thank you all.